Hello, 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 and welcome back to A Little Birdie Told You. I'm your host, Krista Knight.
And I'm your host, Kelly Knight.
Today, we are talking about how to make your love last, and you can use 5 tools, and those 5 tools are the 5 love languages. So we're going to go in depth with every love language and tell you what are some examples of those love languages and why should we embody using the love languages in our love life? Why are they important, and how are they going to make our love last? Why are love languages important? At least do you think? Why do you think they're important to relationships?
I think love languages are important because I think if you don't get those things, it's like a need. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, it's little things that you need. You know what I'm saying? Or the things that you want. I think if you don't get those things out of the relationship, or somebody doesn't like those things, like for instance, I love physical touch. So if I'm dating somebody that doesn't like physical touch, you know, it's just going to be complicated. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be like, you're going to be like basically asking for it all the time, and it's not going to be like, you know what I'm saying?
It's going to make you feel unloved and unappreciated if you're not receiving it. And I think it's important to understand love languages and understand your partner's love language because it shows a sign of respect. It shows that you respect them enough to understand how they feel loved, what makes them feel loved as a person. And you know, there's a lot of things that come into a relationship, many factors, the individual, the way they treat you, and all of those factors that make them who they are. But a lot of us like to receive love in a certain way, and you can do anything you want to that person. Maybe you could throw compliments at them, but maybe that's not their love language. Maybe they don't want compliments. Maybe that's not something that means something to them. It's something that I think a person holds with value. So when someone wants to be loved, they hold this one specific thing with value, and it comes down to the 5 love languages and how you express that. And if you know their love language, that makes them feel appreciated because you're like, I understand your love language. I'm going to express this or try to emphasize these things more to you so you know I love and appreciate you, and I'm going to love you in this way. The 5 love languages, we're going to get into what they are. But let's go ahead and start with the first one, which is physical touch. And we have physical touch, we have acts of service, we have words of affirmation, we have quality time, we have all of these things, right? And we're going to go ahead and get into all of them. Let's start with physical touch. Examples of physical touch. What are examples of physical touch, Kelly, since you said it was your love language?
I would just be like, I don't know. It's so weird, but like holding hands, you know, hugging, I don't know. All those little things.
I think it's just even simple things like touching the person, like making them feel that they're there. And if someone tells you, my physical touch is my love language, I love touch, and you're like, well, what do you mean by touch? Do you mean like, some people feel uncomfortable with the thought of touching someone in public. Like they're like, I don't want to hold your hand in public. Like maybe that's something they don't want. But I also think that's how you know if you're with the right person, is if they're willing to express those love languages. And sometimes maybe it's important to kind of confess your love language early on in the dating realm. Maybe saying, you know, what's your love language, and getting to know them in that way. I think that's not really a bad question to ask. Like, what makes you feel loved? Even if they don't know the love languages, maybe saying, do you like words of affirmation? Do you like acts of service? Like, do you like me doing things for you? Like, what things do you like? But physical touch can even mean like just like touching the person like this, like I'm here for you right now, and I'm in the moment, and I'm here, and my presence is near, because sometimes people need to feel that physical affection so they know that you're there and you're loving them and you're in that moment with them. And I think it can be just simple as that, like just touching them, or, you know, coming behind them and patting them on the back, like just simple things like that. You know, like maybe moving their hair for them, or, you know, holding their hands, things that are very coupley and romantic. I think it can just be simple things like that. Words of affirmation is a good one because I think communication is important. And overall, all of these love languages should be communicated to your partner. I think you can use these even in like not relationship settings, but maybe friendship settings. Like maybe you notice sometimes if you observe, like my friend talks really bad about herself and I don't want her to do that. Maybe I can encourage her and use some words of affirmation to cheer her up. And in a relationship setting, words of affirmations can be like, you're doing amazing. It doesn't even have to be something romantic. Or you look so beautiful today. I love this outfit that you're wearing. It looks great. It fits you perfect. You look absolutely stunning. Some people love that. Some people absolutely crave that. And the reason why is I think a lot of people talk negative about themselves. So words of affirmation can make them feel a lot more better about the person that they are. And if you love someone, I think it's a perfect thing to do that. If they say, I really appreciate when you say nice things to me or compliment me, that can make them feel so loved and appreciated and valued.
It's like a little bit of like reassurance to that person, like the things that they want to hear it comes from somebody that they know like they care about. So then it feels like, okay, they care about me. You know what I'm saying?
I think all of these love languages are reassurance. Though. I think any love language that you use as a tool to show reassurance to that person. I care about you. I'm using these as a way to show you I care. Words of affirmation also can come in notes. Someone who leaves you little notes once in a while, or maybe just like, puts a sticky note in, I don't know, like in your car, just puts a sticky note somewhere, or leaves you a little note and surprises you with words. Some people really appreciate words. Some people really love when you tell them things. And it can make the person feel so much better about themselves. And there's a lot of ways to do this. You can even say it verbally, or you can just write things down, and it makes the person feel appreciated at the end of the day. And we want our significant other to feel appreciated. And I think if someone says it's too much work for them to do these things,
they're not the right person.
They might not be the right person for you. Because someone who loves you is going to make sure that you feel appreciated in the relationship. That is really important here. If they are not making you feel loved and appreciated, it can really decline the relationship. And that's why these love languages are so important, because it allows the relationship to last, because it shows mutual respect and it establishes a connection between you and that person. The next one is receiving gifts. And a lot of you are probably like, okay, here's a materialistic person. If a person tells me they love gifts, it means they're materialistic. Not all the time.
No.
Some people just love simple little things like a gift. Maybe you could even give them a note, and that could be a
honestly,
gift.
I was about to say that. Literally anything that's just like, I think in general that's from you. When you're dating someone, you're like, as long as it's from them, it's a gift. You know what I'm saying? It's like the thought that like counts. So it's like, even if it's something little that's just handmade, it can mean a lot to someone more than just going out and buying something.
Like surprising them with something, or this is a just because gift, or this is a gift because you accomplished something. I want to show my appreciation for you. I want to give you something to show that I care about you.
Yeah.
And if someone's telling you they always want you to buy them gifts, I kind of think that's a little bit of a red flag. I feel like that's not a good thing. That if someone's like, my love language is gifts, you always have to buy me gifts or I'm not going to be in love with you. That's a different story, okay? I'm talking about somebody who says, I just love this because it was the thought that counts. It reminds me of you and you gave it to me.
Yeah.
That's what a love language is when it comes to receiving gifts. And I don't think people just have one love language. I'm going to be honest. Some people might have a little bit of all, okay? And some people might have like a specific one that they need out of the relationship. And if you're not going to give that to them, then the relationship's not going to last. Like Kelly was saying, physical touch is a need. If you're not going to hold hands, or you're not going to show that you're there physically, and that can just be small little gestures, then maybe you're not going to be the person for somebody. And you have to think about those things even when you're in a relationship. Is this going to be something that can jeopardize the relationship if I'm not actually giving them their physical need or their emotional need or their mental need? These things are these are the things that people desire in a relationship that makes them feel loved. And we sometimes actually have to understand that and understand the person. But receiving gifts, I feel like it can really be anything simple. You don't have to go and, spend a lot of money on a person. And maybe if that's the way you like to express love for that person, you want to make sure that they also are appreciating it.
Yeah. I wouldn't just go out and buy something and they're like, kind of like, maybe they're not like, maybe you got them something that they can use. Maybe if they're not using it, you know what I'm saying? If somebody really values you, they're going to be like, oh, I want I always want to use this, or I want to wear it, whatever.
I kind of want to mention here too, sometimes there's a little bit of an opposition with love languages, because sometimes there's a way we like to express love, but there's not a way that person likes to receive that love. Maybe we're a very physical person and we love to give someone physical touch, but they don't love physical touch. And that can kind of be a little bit of a friction there. And you kind of want to make sure that you're on the same page with that. Like if you like physical touch and say that person doesn't like to give physical touch, that's something that they might have to work on, or something that they might have to do, because maybe they just love words of affirmation. Maybe they just love to tell you these things, but they don't like to act on it. And that might be a problem where you might have to work on it. And maybe they really love words of affirmation, but you're not good with your words. So you kind of have to think about those things. And I don't think anything's perfect at the end of the day. There's no right or wrong. It's just trying your best to make that person feel loved. I think that's important. Showing that you actually truly love and care about them as a person. That's the important thing, is trying. I don't think that you should go about someone, oh, they don't like to hold hands, I don't want to be with them. Oh, they don't like to tell me that I'm the most beautiful person in the world, I don't want to be with them. Let them try. Let people try. Give them a chance. Open up and say, this is my love language. This is how I like to receive love. And if you're like, oh, well, I'm not used to that. My previous relationships, she just really loved when I gave her gifts. And then you're like, well, I don't really like gifts. I don't want you to spend money on me. I don't want you to get me things. I want you to use that for yourself. They might have to adjust to that. And that might take some time. Maybe they're not used to that and they're going to have to adjust. Okay, well, she doesn't like gifts and I'm only used to giving gifts. So you kind of have to allow someone to just naturally unfold and show their love and appreciation for you as time takes its course, and not judge them for that.
Yeah.
The next one is acts of service. Acts of service, I think people put kind of expectations on this and think that it's negative when I really don't think it is.
Yeah.
Acts of service can come down to simple things like holding the door open for somebody. And we know we love this one, being a gentleman. And people sometimes come at us for this, opening doors for someone, that's, such a high expectation to have someone's standards. My goodness. But what if that's your love language? What if you love when people do things for you and it shows that they care enough to do these things for you, right?
I think a guy should open a door for a girl because not even just as oh yeah, they're dating you, but just in general, it shows you that they respect women enough to be like, I'm going to open the door for you. You know what I'm saying? To be like,
no, I appreciate that. I think that's a great thing to look for in someone. I think acts of service is kind of something that you should do minorly, like minimally. There should be a minimal expectation there where even if it's not your love language, you should still allow someone to do certain things for you. I think sometimes people like to do things for their partner to make them feel good about themselves, like maybe tidying up their room when you come over, or like not even do that, helping clean or taking things out or doing a task for them that they've been procrastinating for a while. Sometimes we're dating people that are procrastinators and maybe it takes them time to do things and you could say, well, you know what, I'll do it for you. If they have to, take their dog out on a walk, no, I can do it for you. I got this for you. I got it covered. Oh, I have to run an errand. I got it for you. I'm going to do this for you. Like little things like that, that can really mean something to someone. Next one we already did words of affirmation. We did physical touch. We did acts of service, quality time. I think that's a big one that's like in general in a relationship. Because if you really value someone, I think that it means a lot more just to over the gifts. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I've always looked at it. I'd rather spend quality time with somebody than, them buying me something. You know what I'm saying? Because it means a lot more time that their time's very valuable. You know what I'm saying? You can't always be around them. I value quality time. And the reason I say this is I think any relationship deserves a little bit of quality time.
Yeah.
I think you're not in a relationship if you don't have a little bit of quality time with a person. But I think everyone perceives quality time in a different perspective. And what I mean by this is some people don't always like to spend a lot of time with their partner.
Yeah.
And sometimes quality time can simply just be sitting alone together and it's quiet. You're not even talking to them. Maybe you're doing your own thing. And some people look at this different. Like some people like to go on their phones.
It's just like the presence.
The presence. That's what I mean. It's the presence. Some people just like to sit there and read a book together, but they're not talking to each other. And quality time can mean different things for other people. Maybe your definition of quality time is talking one-on-one to the person. Sometimes people just like being in the presence, maybe going on a walk together, or sitting somewhere together but not really communicating, going to a movie together, spending time together. And I think every relationship deserves a little balance of quality time. Quality time is important to get to know the person and spend with the person, but also giving quality time to a person is effort. I think effort's important in a relationship. You have to make effort with that person to be there for that person. And if you're not going to do that, the relationship, it's not going to last as long, right? Now, if a person really appreciates quality time, that's when you can say to them, I took off today to spend with you. I want to give my time to you. I'm devoting today to you. And that simple little gesture can mean a lot to them. Overall, you have to make sure you're balancing this love language too. You can't give too much of it where you're not receiving, but you can't always make it. How do I say this? One thing that's really important in a relationship, and this is kind of sidetracking, sometimes when we do things too much, the person doesn't appreciate it as much. They take it for granted.
So it's like, we're not saying you can't give it to somebody. I would just watch though. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think everybody be honest. I mean, we all know sometimes we always take things for granted. And I think it's just because you get so used to somebody doing something, you don't realize how much, you know what I'm saying, like it means to you really when it's not around if they're not doing it. So it's like you have to kind of step back sometimes and be like, you know what, like you can't take anything for granted. So I think that sometimes,
I think if you wrote someone a note every single day, they're not going to appreciate it as much if you wrote it once in a while.
Yeah.
And that's why I say sometimes watch how much of this love language you give. Make it special still. Allow these love languages to still be special. If you give someone a gift every day and every week, they're not going to look at it as thoughtful as they once did.
they're not going to be like excited when they see it. You know what I'm saying? As time goes on, I'm like, oh, like first they'll be like, oh my God, it's a no, you know? And then as time goes on, they're like, oh yeah, it's a no, you know? And just, it'll just keep going lower and lower until, like, you know what I'm saying? They'll just be like, oh, it's just a no. I don't even care about reading
And
it.
same thing with acts of service. If you constantly do something for that person, they're going to expect it.
Yeah.
And they're not going to look at it as, oh, wow, this is so kind and generous of them. They're going to say, oh, I already knew they were going to do that. And that's why I think it's sometimes important to kind of show them your love, but not always show it to them in the same way. You know, when you're in a relationship with someone, you can't do the same thing all the time. I feel when you do the same thing all the time, not only does it get boring, but it doesn't feel that you're appreciated. You begin to feel unloved. The good thing about love languages is it kind of gets rid of that am I loved by you syndrome. And what I mean by that is a lot of people ask their partner, do you love me? Do you really love me? Am I loved by you? And the love languages kind of help rid that of that. You know what I mean? They help get rid of it. And it makes you feel a little appreciated and a little more loved. But I think if you do it too much, it kind of dismiss that feeling.
Yeah.
Where you feel that, okay, am I really loved? Because you always do these things. If you make it special and one day you wake up and they give you a gift, you're like, oh my goodness, wow, like I didn't see this coming. It's going to make them feel a lot more valued than you doing it every single day. Or every single day, maybe there's a specific place they love dinner at, right? And if you're like Kelly, you love food, right?
Wow.
I'm just kidding. But no, you do.
Yeah,
and like if you're
food.
like Kelly and she's like, you know, I would love to try out this place. They have this great food. And then you notice like a week later, your significant other comes in and surprises you with that food. You're like, wow, the acts of service, the giving. Sometimes I think love languages are kind of combined, because if you think of it like this, an act of service going to get something, but then surprising you with it is a gift. So I think some of us have a couple love languages underneath the surface, and you have to kind of dissect and understand the person to get those love languages figured out.
I think it's like you rank them 1 through 5. And I think, you know, either, you know, they're at the top and they're the ones that are like very important to you, or they're like at the bottom where you're like, you know, I like them, but like, you know, I don't like always expect them. And I think that's kind of like what we do is we rank them, and that's what the person on the other side does too. Like they just sit there and they rank them, and you're like, oh, well, I want to make sure I do those top 3 things because I know that they mean the most to them.
And I feel like when you care about something, you're going to do the things that are important to them.
Exactly.
So if they say this is what I like to receive and you're not used to that, you kind of have to allow yourself to start doing that for that person. And I feel like these all in all are things that you should do in a relationship to show appreciation for a person.
If they're doing stuff for you that you like, you should be doing it back to them, because it's like, even if you don't like them, as time goes on, you'll get used to them. Be like, you know what, this isn't bad. You know what I'm saying? Like Kristen said, if you don't like physical touch, sooner or later, you know, you're going to like...
It's going to bother you.
Exactly. It's going to bother you when you can't give them physical touch.
And truthfully, I think we also have to allow someone to take their time to maybe understand us and understand the things that we like. When you've been in a relationship for a while, or you start to get to know a person over time, you do understand the things that they appreciate and enjoy out of a relationship. And you'll start to adjust to those things. But if you notice you've opened up to the person and you've communicated, I always say communication's key. Listen to me when I say that. You've got to tell the person. You can't expect a guy who doesn't know how to do words of affirmation and you really appreciate words of affirmation to understand it like that, okay? Exactly. You got to tell him, say, hey, I really, you know, appreciate you and you do a lot of things for me, but I want you to know I really, really, really value words of affirmation. If he's like, what the heck are words of affirmation? What do I do for that? Some people don't know these love languages, and that's why I'm telling you them. You might have no idea listening to this right now what the heck is a love language. You might not know. And they don't have to be words of affirmation, but they can be anything. And you can simply say, well, I love when you tell me that you love me. I really need to hear that. It makes me feel better about myself, or it makes me feel more secure in this relationship when you reassure me that you love me, or you reassure me that I look nice today. And those are things that someone might need. And if they're not going to do that for you and time's kind of running out, you're like, dang, like I really feel unloved in this relationship. I don't feel appreciated. That might not be the right person for you. And that's the hard truth. And you can tell them to work on it, right? But you can't expect it right away. That would kind of be a little cruel of you to expect it right away. Oh, they're not doing it for me. I'm done with this person. But that's why it's kind of important to maybe rank them. Maybe like when you're meeting somebody and you're talking to somebody, you start dating someone, say, let's rank our love languages. Let's sit down. Let's rank our love languages.
You know, and some people might think that's like cringy, but it's like at the end of the day, you don't want to get in a relationship with somebody that doesn't, You know what I'm saying? Like,
value your needs.
value
right?
your needs, and then like you actually sit there and value theirs.
And they take your energy for granted. We don't want that in a relationship. We want someone who looks at us and says, I'm going to express my love for you the way that you desire to receive it, right? And it might seem cringy, okay?
Yeah.
If you show up on, the fourth date and you guys are starting to progress here, or not even a date, but maybe you really are taking this to the next level, and you're saying, you know what, let's talk about love languages, or how do you like to receive love? Maybe you don't have to say love languages, but you can bring up, how do you like to receive love? How do you like to give love? How do you like to give love in this relationship? And they tell you, well, I guess I really like physical touch. Then you now you know. And this relationship can have a lasting relationship. We're going to allow the relationship to last. If we actually communicate about these things, there's a potential for this relationship to last. And that's why love languages are a tool to success when coming to relationships, because if you understand that person and they understand you, you're going to have a nice flow of expressing and giving love to that person and receiving love from that person. And you're going to cover all these relationship techniques, okay?
Yeah.
All these love languages, and you're going to learn how to express them. If they like a little bit of all of it, then great. You can just give a little bit of all, and you can learn to balance it and be creative with your love language and the styles that you like to do. And it doesn't just have to be the things that me and Kelly mentioned. You don't have to just do notes.
There's like way other ones.
There's so many things that I can pick up.
But they go off of those 5. You know what I'm saying? They're just like
they stem off of them.
Exactly.
Like sometimes we really like when guys are creative and they use their own mind to come up with things, like making you something that you never even thought of. And I feel girls can be a little bit more creative with the gift giving and the way that they express love and the way they say things, because girls kind of know. We know, okay?
Yeah.
But sometimes guys need a little bit of a booster here, and you telling them, I would really appreciate you doing this for me. They might do it. Guys, I feel like would understand more if we actually communicate and express these things to them. Sometimes I think guys aren't even thinking though. Like I feel like they know, but sometimes they're not thinking in the moment. Maybe they just don't realize it. Like maybe they love you so much, but they don't know how to express it the way that you want it to be expressed. Sometimes you have to communicate. And I don't think it's just guys. Sometimes girls don't either, okay? I'm not going to just pull it all on the guys. But that's why it's important. Communicate the love language that you want in a relationship.